Hello, Eric Roberts. I apologize for the phone video. Um, as I've said all along, I'm an old fart, and I never did get my video with audio up and going. So I will try and be in the meeting on Friday with audio so I can hear all of your comments and respond if I need to. Um, my research was actually on fracking, um, technically known as hydraulic horizontal drilling. And I chose this subject because I lived in Carroll County at the time of this heightened exploration and had to deal with the interruption of our lives on all of the main highways and county roads with the drilling rigs, the water trucks, dodging them, and the workers coming in and out um, of the area. Um, so, what I'm doing was commenting on the research that I found out about this process. Um, the horizontal aspect is not necessarily a new invention. It was discovered, it can be used to get at our natural resources in the mid 1990s, first down in Texas, and then brought into the Midwest up here, Marcellus Shale, in particular, in the early 2000s. Um, Ohio has always been a big player in natural resources extraction. We've had um, over 200,000 vertical wells drilled from the first discovery in 1885, I believe, in Western Ohio until 2013. One of the points we found out was they've already extracted enough natural gas to last every home in Ohio for 25 years. So when they decided to go ahead and go and use this new technology, it was really out of greed. And as you'll see, or as you look over my fact sheet, you can see just how much larger an impact this technology does versus what the old wells that we would see out in a cornfield happen to have. The drilling itself, um, the well pads um, take up somewhere between 4 and 5 acres per well pad, and they can put somewhere between 6 and 8 wells on each well pad. They themselves then, besides all of the land that is disrupted and fragmented, um, the big source of my worry is the amount of water that they go through. Um, these technologies require them to still do the vertical drilling, but then also then they'll turn the drill bit horizontally and then go further into the shale to get at the oil and natural gas. What they have to do then is pump millions of gallons of water, sand, and other chemicals down this pipe to get at the resource. So, unfortunately, all of the land that is disrupted, of course, you'll have destruction of natural habitats that we may never get back. They claim that the land should be able to be reclaimed, or reclamation projects within 10 to 15 years. They should be uh, back to somewhat normal. But you're talking about the habitats of the white-tailed deer, numerous small animals, rabbits, squirrel, um, birds, and then the biggest thing is, again, like I said before, the water. Um, this uses millions, I mean, literally millions of gallons of water per well pad. So the Muskingum watershed has been the biggest source of their fresh water. They'll take their water trucks and go and fill up at our numerous lakes down here in eastern Ohio. So if you've ever been down to Atwood, Salt Fork, Seneca, Tappan, any of those areas for fishing or boating, canoeing, what have you, or just swimming, um, they, the oil and gas companies, are now using that for their fresh water source. So that has been disrupted big time. And unfortunately, with all of the different wells, they've had over or around 3,000 different well pads since 2011. So you multiply that by the minimum six, so you're looking at close to 18,000 different wells, um, probably in the billions of gallons of water that has been used. And then the other major problem then becomes their waste disposal. So anything you shoot down these pipes comes back up as sludge. And they built 225 waste disposal sites, but those are all basically at capacity already. They do have permits to build more, but there has been spillage of these waste chemicals. When there was one a year ago that was right next to the banks of the Tuscarawas River. Numerous damage to crops and freshwater sources, just because of all the carcinogens in the air and that's emitted from these well pads. So there has been untold damage done to our state, um, just to get at these natural resources. Um, the farmers and landowners that have benefited economically have been rewarded uh, very handsomely, but that doesn't um, translate to the rest of us. I mean, we might pay a lower rate for natural gas and have plenty of it, but if you're talking about our drinking water being poisoned, and unfortunately, we're not going to know what the real damage is probably for a generation. before we find out exactly um, what, and I'm talking basically about cancers and other diseases that come from these gases and damage to our water sources. Again, I do apologize for putting this on my phone. Uh, and again, feel free to comment um, and let me know if you have any questions. Thank you very much.